All right, good morning, trade pros. Welcome to the morning market update for Tuesday, March the 5th of 2019. This is George Papazov, Trade Pro Academy. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I've had a great morning so far. We got a lot to talk about today. We got a full day ahead of us in trading. Yesterday, we saw a really steep slide or a big sell-off in equity markets. Today, it's up to the bulls to see if they can sustain some of that or absorb some of that sell pressure to see what we got to the upside. Yesterday was also an exciting day in that we found out that the Samsung Galaxy Note 9, the phone that you're watching this YouTube update through, actually works underwater. We jumped in the pool with it, and it's still working. But come to think of it, and I put that on YouTube. We did a YouTube live where I was telling you guys I was researching the phone, and I jumped in, and it still worked. It cut out as soon as it hit the water because it was one of the smart trade pros said Wi-Fi doesn't work underwater. I didn't know that, and so it cut out. But we jumped in the pool with it, and the wife asked me before we jumped in. She said, "If this goes bad," she's a risk manager, clearly in a relationship. She's like, "If this goes bad, do you need your phone for anything?" I'm like, "No, not really. I mean, I could survive without it. YouTube, duh. That's what I need it for. Can you? Thank you. Hang on 1 second. Okay, so."
We just need a few
All right, yes. So anyways, I did need it. Let's continue here. Morning market fun fact for today. Gold prices fall for the 6th consecutive session yesterday. All right, and they fell 0.9 since March of 2017. I have a little bit of connection issue here. We are in Bermuda on vacation, so please be patient. We might cut in and out here temporarily. But so far it looks to be running pretty good. All right, here's the big news today. So at the moment, there's a 14-day meeting going on in China in the National People's Congress, abbreviated as NPC. And what's happening here, the NPC is 2,980 members who meet, and it's the largest parliamentary meeting in the world. All right, so over the next 10 to 14 days, you're going to hear a lot of Chinese lawmaking and policies come out. So this is a meeting in which they make changes, constitutional changes. Everything's pretty much up for review and change. So it's an awesome once-a-year massive annual meeting. All right, Premier Li Keqiang, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, said the nation must be prepared for a tough struggle in the opening minutes, said as it faces a grave and more complicated environment. And he cut the economy's economic growth target this year to 6 and 6.5% in that range. If you think about that, you're like, look, 6.5%, that's massive GDP. Not for China. That's the lowest GDP target since 1990. All right, and in fact, it's lower than the 2018 target of 6.6%. So they've lowered their GDP and inflation expectations, and they're getting used to this new lower economic environment for China, which is a first. Because China would produce a lot of the goods, export it to the United States and other countries worldwide, take in the income as a result of selling their foreign goods, and go out and buy those countries' treasuries. So a lot of the money that China actually collects from this into U.S. treasuries, which the United States has used to fund their budget gap or spending deficit. And this is what a lot of traders don't understand, and a lot of people who are kind of taking part in this discussion don't understand, is that this is a relationship that's worked for a long time. This was a mutual understanding that China will prosper during these trade surplus times, but that money will ultimately circulate back into the treasury, so it's sort of a win-win scenario. So China's having lower economic outlook. The global economic outlook has declined as well. We're seeing lower prints in a lot of data, and it looks like we're slowing down from an economic scale. And this morning isn't going to help. So what we're seeing here is an economic slowdown, and equity markets are to rally in the face of an expectation for a trade deal. And here's what we told you yesterday. We said we don't think the trade deal is going to matter much. And the reason being is that this is a longer term perspective. Yes, they might agree to some kind of trade-off. However, in the long term, Larry Kudlow said this is going to be a multi-year threat against China with these tariffs. So very interesting stuff happening here in the market. We saw a pretty steep sell-off yesterday. We expected it. We had 3 support levels set in the trading room. All 3 of them got hit. And we even broke below there to the point that it's like, I don't really have a level anymore. I don't know how much lower it's going to go. We've hit all of our levels, supports. Just continue to stay short until you bottom out. In today's economy, or in today's market rather, in Asia, Japan's down 0.4%, Hong Kong's flat, China, Shanghai's up 0.9%, India's up 1.1%. And the reason China's up is, yes, they lowered their GDP, but they made announcements that they're going to cut taxes. So tax cut plan bodes well for stock markets. So Chinese markets rallied on that news. And also news that the government's going to circulate more money into banks with lower lending capitals. All right, so really interesting stuff going on here. And infrastructure spending, that's why I had to check the notes. I'm like, I'm missing something. Infrastructure spending is also increased out of China. That's the expectation for 2019 at least. All right, so interesting stuff happening overnight. In Europe at midday, London's up 0.3%, Paris is down 0.2%, Frankfurt's down 0.1%. The Dow Jones is up 0.2% in the U.S., Nasdaq's up 0.2%, and so is the S&P. So we're recouping some of the losses from yesterday, but we've still done technical damage. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens today. In today's market, I think we sell rallies early on, and if we fail somewhere around 10:30, the opening hour is called the opening balance. If we fail to break a new low or it doesn't look convincing to the downside, this could be a good buying opportunity to ride it up to the highs in the afternoon. I see today as either breaking the low or really taking off and closing back up to the highs of yesterday's session before the open. All right, and I know that's sort of, yeah, it's going to go up or down. Genius, George. Can you tell us a little bit more precisely? But I think today is one of those days that we're at a kind of a crossroads here. If we can continue to take out these 28, 20 levels to 30, we got upside. We're within 5% of all-time highs on the market. We could be taking a run for that if we continue higher. However, at this point, this is a quadruple top that's now in the making, and I don't think we're going to break through it that easily. So I see some more downside starting yesterday, continuing through to today, and ultimately could last into the end of the week with the non-farm payrolls number Friday morning. All right. Gold is down 0.1%. Crude oil is down 0.1% this morning as well. On news from OPEC sources that they're unlikely to make any output policy changes in their upcoming April meeting in 5 or so weeks. They're more likely to do so in June. So we know that Donald Trump's tweeted he wants lower oil prices. You know, OPEC's responded saying you got 25 countries working together and really not maximizing, but minimizing their output, all right? Setting restrictions on their output. What more do you want from us, kind of thing. That's been the response. There's been a back and forth there, but OPEC is not looking to make any key policy changes in April. That's going to get pushed off the June meeting, so that's interesting for the market. It's a little bit of relief because we know there isn't going to be any output cuts or output increases. It's going to be status quo until June. Bitcoin's up 0.7% to mid 3,000s. This morning, 9:45, we have PMI Services Index, 10 a.m. new home sales, 10 a.m. ISM non-manufacturing index as well, and 2 p.m. the Treasury budget. Not a ton of news, but we do have more than yesterday. Stay the short side, sell rallies in the morning till about 10:30. If we bottom out and push the lows, then we can see a continuation to the downside. All right, but early on, we're going to set up the short, and if this market makes us to make money, and by admitting that you may not be right and still have a chance to make money is a step in the right direction. You guys have a great day. We got another couple sessions out of Bermuda here. We're on a trip, on a holiday, and we're shooting some cool footage as well for YouTube. It'll make its way up eventually. Hope you guys are having a great day. Appreciate you guys. Sending you and your families love, joy, and happiness. See you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for another morning market update. Take care. Goodbye. Now